there. Thanks for popping in to our virtual summit, an online event created exclusively for educators wanting more freedom. I'm your host, Suzanne Klein, an educator to entrepreneur with a 5 freedom life and teaching you how to do it too. For this virtual summit, I really enjoyed assembling over 20 expert speakers, other educator turned entrepreneurs. For the first time ever, they are sharing their expertise and experience with you to help you achieve more freedom in your life. For the expert today, I'm so excited to be sharing her message and her story with you. And we actually have so much in common, so much so that our 20-minute chat turned into over an hour because we just kept talking about all the things we have in common. So I can't wait to share her with you. So besides the fact that she was a special education intervention teacher and teacher consultant for over 15 years, we both realized that we taught only about an hour apart from each other in my home state of Michigan. Yay! And we also, she was also a she still is an SDE speaker, and I was a BER speaker. So again, another thing in common. And lastly, like me, she's an educator turned entrepreneur who developed a program from the success that she had in her own classroom and wanted to take it to market and share it with a wider audience. She pursued her passion, purpose, and transitioned into entrepreneurship, creating her own freedom and following her purpose. A warm welcome to our guest, Shannon Smoldinsky McCarthy. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Thank you. So can you just give us an overview, or back when we were in the classroom, state your objective of what you'd like our viewers to take away from your message today?
Yeah, I think being a part of the summit's a really great opportunity. And I think when we're looking at, educators today and kind of the path that I've been on for a long time, I always think this is my second half of my career, because when I first started teaching and I was in the teaching world and making a difference, but felt like I could do more than that. And so as we look at kind of the 5 purposes, I think a lot of what I was searching for was purpose, is that I had the purpose and was making the difference with the teachers and the kids that I was working with. But I felt this sense that I had a calling to give this purpose to other people in a larger venue than what I was doing. And so I feel like today will be a really great opportunity, really for the first time, for me to share my venture of what I've been doing over the last 10 years and kind of the second chapter in my career.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you for sharing it with us. This is such a great opportunity for us to hear your story. So when you were thinking about leaving teaching, what were you thinking about a year or maybe months before you decided to quit teaching?
It was hard. I taught full time, and then I went part time for 4 years. To most people, to think that I wanted to be home with my kids, which I did, and wanted to kind of open up that time of that crazy work schedule that I had. My kids were little, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I wanted to build my consulting career. And so for 4 years, I was part-time, kind of behind the scenes, being a really, having fun being a mom, but at the same time, looking at that next chapter. And so I think the hardest decision for me was probably the mediocrity tied to it. When you're in education, there was never that I thought I was better than anybody, or that I was really just pursuing a passion of my own. And I had a principal that I went to, and I said, I really think I'm going to take a leave of absence for 2 years. And the story that she told me will always resonate whenever I doubt myself. But she said, there's birds on a wire, is kind of how she described it. And they're, all the teachers kind of flocking and doing their own thing. And as much as we get in the thick of things, or maybe feel like we want to change our careers, some of those birds will stay on that wire and continue on that wire. But she goes, you're going to fly away and you're going to come back and visit. And those same people are going to still be there doing the great things that they do. But I was just that bird that was supposed to, fly away and do different things. So there's a lot of internal struggle, I would say. But I always felt safe in my mind because I took a leave of absence, and I could do that for 2 years and get all positioned back with a multitude of certifications that I had. And so but it was hard because you don't have that comfort of your staff all the time. But I found that comfort and really my purpose outside of that I never would have thought would have been as large as it is now.
Yes, and I love that bird on a wire, and that's so wonderful when our administrators can inspire us instead of some of the other stories that I've heard and from our speakers and that our viewers out there will be hearing as well, where the principal, the administrator is actually providing more obstacles, and that's hard. So it was wonderful to hear that you had a supportive administrator, principal. So you had this purpose, and was it nagging at you? And did you feel like, was anyone telling you that no, you should stay? What were you feeling like? I mean, why didn't you just stay until retirement and then pursue creating your business that you have created?
I think for me, it was a lot of timing. I was about, what I would call like halfway through my teaching career. So for me, I thought about the retirement and the financial part, because I always say that teachers take the vow of poverty and that, you're never going to make enough money, and you're, trying to work different jobs, whether it was tutoring or different things in the summer. And I just thought, if I could make enough money to live the life that I want to, but at the same time be able to, really earn back some freedom of, self and being able to value that. And we have a lot of people that want to venture into the world of what I'm doing. And I think for some of the teachers that we've talked to about even coming to do some of the things with us, it is that retirement feeling, is that I have 4 more years until retirement. And if I do that, it's $4,000 less dollars every year I'm going to make when I'm retired. But they're also not looking at the big picture of the risk of that $4,000, but at the same time, if I were to take this on and create something that I'm super passionate about and be able to really absorb yourself in that content and what you want to do, that's when, things happen. And that $4,000, doesn't seem as big of a deal. And a lot of it, is healthcare. Like, I'm not going to have any healthcare. What am I going to do? But the idea of being able to, invest money and look at that in a different way beyond just that teacher salary. And so for me, I bought 5 years when that was allowed, when you're allowed to do that. So I have, a pension coming, but it will be really small. But I've been able to, work on my retirement in a different way than I didn't think was possible as a teacher.
Yes. I love that you said that, Shannon, because the exact story that I remember you telling me and why our conversation took longer than 20 minutes was you were sharing, and this was so similar to what was happening to me. You have a lot of teachers that come up to you and say, hey, I love what you're doing. I really want to come and work for you. And I think what you were referring to, if I'm correct, was this one teacher that you were really excited to sign up, and she was going to be I think a coach, but she was the one that had said, I can't do it. It's the $4,000. But I think in the bigger picture you painted, it's so true that we think in this kind of box. And yes, $4,000 is a lot of money, but it's thinking small and not thinking about like how that, if she would have taken that opportunity with you, who knows what the sky is beyond the sky is a limit, no limit really. And maybe she would have coached with you and made more money. And maybe she would have even spun off and done her own thing, which then, she could have doubled, tripled what she was making in teaching. So it's too bad that, she did say, well, I only have 4 more years until retirement, so I might as well just hang in there, even though that's not what she really wanted to do, because those 4 years, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, that's a lot in our lifetime. I mean, really. Yeah. So I am kind of digressing a bit, but do you have any comments to that?
Yeah, I think that is that thought of, I have 4 more years, but then I kind of go back to one of the reasons why I'm talking to you is really about purpose, is that, I feel run down in my classroom and I'm feeling like I'm making a difference, and I'm kind of dealing with a lot of stuff. And it's kind of like, for me, leaving my career, I had lost what I thought was what I had signed up for. I was in meetings with lawyers about a child's educational performance and different things like that. And so it's, looking at that happier part, we talked a lot about the stress level that you endure as a teacher, and that if you could focus and become an expert in one area, what would that look like? And so, and part of this is that launching to do the, kind of throw yourself out there. But it's also safe to take a leave and then kind of, if worst case scenario, and I've always been a believer that and this has totally been true for my path of what I've done, is that you could envision something to happen, it will happen. Like you will make it happen. And every time I felt defeated and one door closed, I don't know why, it was always 3 days, another door open. I mean, it's like almost crazy. Like, it sounds a little bit, like really weird, but it is every time. And it was like, okay, I'm not gonna let that get me down. This is my next path. And there's always another door that's open. It's about really having the confidence and feeling good about yourself that it's going to work out.
I love that. I absolutely believe in that kind of synergy of the universe, that when you allow yourself to be open to the possibilities, then they can land at your feet instead of feeling stuck and not doing anything about it. And so, so many people sit on the bench, but you went from dreaming to doing. So kudos to you. Very impressive story. And, you created a product, and a curriculum and coaching that was never there before. You created it and made it appear because of all your hard work and your skill. And it takes a lot of courage and, of course, skills. And so, speaking of skills, this launches into the next question that I have for you, which is, did you have transferable skills that you had as a teacher that you are now using in having your own business, and that ensured your success in starting and maintaining this business? And the reason why I asked, Shannon, is because so many teachers believe that once they are a teacher and they've made that investment in their undergrad, that they are always a teacher and that's all that they have and know, and they don't feel like, whether they don't feel like they can go out and get another job and go into a different career path, or they want to start their own business based on a feeling of purpose, like you and I both did. And so my question is, in a roundabout way, what transferable skills did you have as a teacher that you're able to use now today as you're having your business?
I think probably the biggest one is adaptability, because in my special education career and my general education career, I had the dual degree, and I ironically have a reading specialist, and I do math almost every day. But the part that I had learned the most in teaching was I think of kids as onions, and I delayered them. And so I always say I'm going to peel back the layers to find the root of the problem. And so initially doing, preventing early learning failure, I just take situations, and I'm really skilled at being able to delayer where they are. And so whether it was a child with special needs or a general ed student, I was able to do that. And I find that every day in my career, whether I'm with one of our most affluent schools or our most, schools that is really, maybe full Title I, they all have different issues, whether it's student achievement or math scores. And we're constantly taking that layer and delayering it. And this very large project that I've undertaken with doing math curriculum was really to take, what's happening in the classroom. And I always say, why isn't it working? And so we have to delayer more to find out what the root of the problem. And my company's name is Strategic Intervention Solutions, because the idea is if we could be more strategic about what we're doing and have that focus, we could, kind of clear that way to make it be more successful. And so adaptability, certainly leadership, is a really big skill, or not fearful to, I think this is a great idea, but it might not work out, but let's look at the data and then be more prescriptive to see what it is we can do, even better. And so a lot of those skills and organization, and just really, I think that part of that idea of the self-discipline of and it's just when I have the feeling I want to develop something, then I see the need for it and know the impact it can have. And so being adaptable, I think, has helped me to be in any situation to help make, to figure out how we can make it successful.
Absolutely. And I love that you are sharing these things, because it just shows that you've broken free from your limiting beliefs, which is the limiting beliefs is what holds so many people back. And I'm so glad that you're sharing this as an inspirational message. So this is all so helpful. I want to share, if you don't mind, something personal that I learned during our conversation. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. I love that I'm putting you on the spot here, but you did share with me that you are exhausted and that you're working longer hours than you were as a teacher, and driving all over the place doing PD days and speaking gigs, all while managing an expanding team.
Mhm.
I totally get this. We were there too, and when I was building Right Steps and selling over $8 million in products and services, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a heavy load that you're carrying, and it's a big team that starts to build. And I get it; it takes a lot. So you're going through some growing pains right now, which is actually a good thing if you look at it, because that means you're increasing your reach. But I can tell you that it will get easier once you put some systems in place. And as a side note, I think I mentioned this before, but I would love to coach you and help you create more freedom too. So I digress, but there is a
Yeah.
question in there. Oh yes, okay. How can I forget? You have a very special event coming up in 3 days. Can you share
Yes.
with our viewers worldwide what's happening?
Yeah, so I've gone by Shannon Smolsky for a long time and have been an author under that name. And I'm getting married this Saturday, so in like 3 days I'm getting married, and will be Shannon McCartney. Although professionally I'll be Shannon Smolsky McCartney, so people don't think I'm some new person off the street. But yeah, we are very excited for our big day. And then for me, it's an exhausting time at the beginning of the school year right now, and so I'm really excited. We're going. Really good friends of ours, gifted us their timeshare, and we're going to Maui. And so we are so excited to have 10 days there, and I'm just going to completely unplug. And if, hopefully everything will go okay. If anyone needs to call me, they can. Yeah, it'll be really nice.
I'm so glad to hear that you're unplugging during your honeymoon, because that's the time that you deserve to just completely relax. So good to hear. I know as an entrepreneur, you're working so hard to build your business. But yes, I'm so excited for you. So unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time, and I want to make sure that our educators hear about your freebie offer. And but before I do, I have to bust your chops a little bit as a fellow Michigander, Shannon. So when you wrote your business title, you wrote educator and author. But I want to say that you are so much more than just that, and I hope you realize it. And I mention this because it's not only our teachers in our buildings that are playing it small, but also it can be our former teachers as well. And I want to make sure that as the founder and CEO of SIS for Teachers, that you're an educator turned entrepreneur, helping more teachers and making even a bigger difference all around the nation. And this is huge. And I want to thank you for following your purpose, which was today's objective was to help those teachers, educators out there that feel their purpose might be outside of the classroom, and also for those teachers that feel like they still want to be in the classroom, but want to hear more about how someone else did it and some of the strategies. So I want to thank you for joining me during this enlightened session, and I wish you an absolutely magical day and an amazing honeymoon in Maui.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's been great. So I did mention that you have a freebie, and it's really going to be helpful for our 1st through 5th grade teachers who are teaching math. And you're going to want to grab this great Abacus activity cards that Shannon has offered, and you'll see that in the link. And unlike the freebie that Shannon has generously offered, she would like you to just have it just for you. So no sharing, folks. And even though Shannon and I have a ton in common with our history, I have to say that I would love for you to share. I'm going to go the opposite here. I would love for you to share this virtual summit, Freedom for Educators, with your education friends who need to hear these messages. There's still time to jump on to the virtual summit, and you'll see the link below that says sharing is caring. So just click that, and that'll take you to a page where you can send it to your friends as well. And I also want to say too, it's not too late to get the All Access VIP pass, which will help you watch more of these amazing interviews with the expert speakers past the 72 hours. And there'll be a lot more goodies in there for the VIPers. So grab that today. And I want to thank you for joining us on the Freedom for Educators first ever virtual summit. And keep savvy, my friends.